Hi, everyone. I really enjoyed this week's readings. They taught me quite a bit about character strengths. I'm a really big self reflection person, so this was kind of right up my alley. For my top strengths, my first one was appreciation of beauty and excellence, which for an elementary art teacher was not a shock. I definitely find an immense amount of joy in the small things that remind me just how big the world really is, like art and music and nature. Things like sunrises, for some reason, bring me to tears. If I hear a choir group of kids singing, I'm a weepathon. Just little things like that. So this one did not take me by surprise at all. My second trait was kindness, which also was not a shock. I know that sometimes optimism can drive people nuts, but I am such an optimistic, happy person all the time. And I'm a really big believer in little random acts of kindness and just making people's day. The biggest one is just smiling. I smile at everybody in the hallway, even on my hard days, because I'm just a firm believer that and holding yourself accountable for how you impact somebody's mood in their day. You just never know what somebody's going through. So just something as simple as smiling and being that kind presence for them is a big belief of mine. The third one was social intelligence, which I had to do a little bit of digging in the readings and a little bit of searching online to kind of wrap my head around that one. But that talks about just like being aware of other people's feelings, which diving in deeper to it, I definitely could see being an empathetic person and a very big believer in active listening to people. My art door is always opening and closing with teachers that need to vent, with students that want to just talk. So that one, after kind of diving into it a little bit more, I realized that it fit my character strengths pretty well. The fourth one I was actually surprised with, which is teamwork. And not because I don't enjoy working on a team. I don't love it, only because I don't feel like I'm a great team player when it comes down to it, because I tend to just take over and do the things that aren't getting done. I do like being the peacekeeper of a group. I like being able to get people to work together who maybe don't, especially with my students. So it was kind of surprising, but it was kind of nice to see that even though I may not see that character strength in myself, clearly I've got something going with it. So that was a kind of a nice reminder. My number five was honesty, which thinking of connecting my past to it, my mom told me that I was the one kid she never had to worry about because I couldn't lie even if you paid money. She said that if I did something wrong, I would literally tattle on myself because I couldn't handle it in my heart, all the guilt that would come with lying to my mom or lying to a friend. I was always overly honest in every situation. So that one was also not surprising at all. Professionally, I really think all five could connect. The first one, in my profession of being an art teacher, appreciation of beauty and excellence, I think is a no-brainer. I have to really, really think about the bigger picture and appreciate so many other things in life, and teach that to my students. So that was a huge part of, in a professional setting, how I use that one. Social intelligence and just being an empathetic person and kind of adapting in different groups and kind of doing that, read the room situation. I feel like in a professional setting, that's really important, especially being in education, communicating with students who you don't know what they're going on behind the scenes, communicating with parents and meeting them in a way that sometimes can be a really hard conversation, but making sure that you are being aware of their feelings in a situation and in a conversation as well, along with the coworker too, that could carry into that. The third one, I would say teamwork, which is ironic enough because that was the one that I was kind of surprised on. In education, you have to work on curriculum teams, your content team. I have a special area team. I have a special education team that I work with. I've got a leadership team that I'm on. So there's so many ways that teamwork has to come into play, and education is huge. So teamwork really does make a dream work in this setting. As far as some connections I wanted to talk about, my school is actually doing a Leader in Me program where we have to sit down for the first 3 weeks of school, identify a student's strengths, and give them a leadership job that they carry with them all school year, which I thought was pretty awesome for this because it directly resonated with two of the articles we read. One of them was Michelle McQuaid's 10 Habits to Develop Your Strengths at Work. I loved the idea of giving yourself a reward, like for creativity. If you sit down and you give, 11 minutes of using my strength of being creative, to get a job done or to connect with my clients or my students, I can reward myself with a coffee. So I thought that was like a really great way to develop your strengths at work. And I enjoyed that article reading into it. The other one was the article by Dr. Ryan Niemek. It was helping your employees find happiness engagement. This one directly correlated with our Leader in Me program, which is, a boss in this situation, a teacher, identifying the strengths of their employees or students and allowing them to take that strength and to improve their self-esteem by showing up with it. That article spoke a lot about how, using somebody's strengths actually does impact everybody because you're growing the character traits of that person, but you're also then helping that person carry those strengths into their everyday life out of school as well. We have parents that talk about how their kids come home and do these leadership roles at home. Something as simple as being the door holder. They're opening doors at home for their moms. So it's just really cool to see the huge impacts of all of these character strengths at play as well. So thank you guys for listening. Looking forward to hear what you got.